Hello and thank you for joining us on the channel. Night Guy here. Just gonna do a quick review on a new piece that I'm very impressed with so far. I haven't done any cuts with this thing yet, but looking forward to it. Don't mind Mr. Skullhead in the back there. He's just giving us some moral support. Anyhow, let's get right into the blade. Let's see what we have here. This is a Nepal forged Grosse Messer. Right there. Interesting design, or their take on a Grosse Messer, I should say. Typically, I would say what jumped out to me, it's still in the sheath now, I'll show you the blade in a second. What jumped out to me was that it definitely doesn't exactly follow, your more standard conventional design for a messer. Show you an example of one that I currently have, or at least the closest that I have. This here is the Cold Steel Messer, one of their messers. I would, would say this is definitely more comparable to something that would be historically accurate. Let me pull it out of the sheath there. Got a little dust on it. Always make sure to dust our swords. This is the blade. Very impressive there. I'm gonna go ahead and set this down. Let me move Mr. Skull Guy. So you could just see that in the background there as the comparison to the new Messer, the Nepal forged Grosse Messer here once again. So let's get into it. As far as design is concerned, I was mentioning that it doesn't seem like the most historically accurate design that exists, but we'll cover some more of my thoughts and opinions on that. Let's just get the sheath out of the way. Have a very nice leather sheath. It did not come with this sword frog. I put that on myself. This is one I had laying around, but it does have this little wrap here. Extends to about here. There you go. You can see where the blade goes in. Not too bad. Black leather construction. There's the bottom there. Decent stitching job on the back. I'm actually pretty impressed. I would say this is a little bit long. I tried getting a belt through there. I'm not the tallest man in the world, and this thing just drags on the floor. So that's why I put my own frog down here. So that I can actually carry this if I wanted to. Anyhow, let's get the sheath down, get that out of the way. I'm not really sure what would be considered the most accurate sheath or scabbard design for messers of the time period. Let me just show the Cold Steel take their design on it. Have nice metal fittings there, capped off on the end. This is actually leather, but it's stained to almost look like wood, capped off there. I did a full review on this sword previously, this Cold Steel blade and the scabbard. Go ahead and check that out. I did the unboxing. Now back to the main event here, the Nepal forged. This one is definitely longer than the Cold Steel. As you can tell, this is a two-handed length messer compared to a single-handed messer. I would say one of the areas that I would consider it to be lacking is in the traditional messer-styled guards. I don't think I've ever seen any historically accurate messer that has a guard in this format. Not saying that I don't like it, but it is what it is. It doesn't. Most that I've seen follow something similar to this. Nice little guard here, more of a cross guard design, some more knuckle protection or hand protection there in the form of a bar. That's very common. Also, not to mention the blade, the way the blade isn't just parallel the whole way. It angles out up here and then comes back into the point. They're normally definitely going to be single edged, and this one has those qualifications. It is a single edge blade. However, it does not have the, where it angles out up here like it does on the cold steel. Let me show you that side to side. There. This new Nepal forged Grosse Messer. It's fresh out the box, so it still has their factory oil on it. Anyhow, some things that I do like. I wish the fuller came all the way down to here. That's a common thing in some of the less expensive blades, which this one definitely is. The price range wasn't too bad. I paid about $150 on this one. They may have went up since then. However, balance is it's definitely a very forward heavy blade. I want to say the balance point is almost halfway up the blade, which here's some specs. The blade comes in at 29 inches. I did really like what they did with the fuller. There's a fuller on both sides, single edged, only one blade edge here, flat edge here. The fuller actually runs up and kind of curves out, which I'm pretty sure. I'm not really sure if that's historically accurate to really any blades. The cold steel, for example, just goes straight right along the spine. I'm pretty sure that's the most common design. If you know out there a little more about Messers, let me know. But most Messers follow the similar design. You know, they have the single edge blade, nice guard. This isn't the nicest looking guards. I don't know if that's supposed to be like your reticle there, you know, your sniper hole. I guess you could look down it. I think maybe they just either they wanted to break tradition or they were just trying to do something and they didn't really know what they were doing. I would feel the ring should be here. You should have more of a cross guard. This is a very tiny guard section there, very thick. You know, you see that commonly with these inexpensive designs or reproductions. Another thing that's very interesting is this hole here. Not really sure what is that for. Maybe for some weight reduction. Typically, I'm used to Messers being capped off, like this one. But we can see it follows similar design in the handle. A lot of Messers that I've seen do have this where you see the tang running down completely, you know, sandwiched between two pieces of wood. This is rosewood, you know, with the little pegs, steel pegs going through there. I really like the ergonomic grip design that they set up. That actually feels incredibly comfortable in the hands. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to get a enjoyable cut and swing with it. It's not the lightest piece. It sits, I'm going to say right under 3 pounds. But I think it's going to command some real authority on some cuts. Speaking of cuts, let's get into the blade. Move that over a little bit to show you. This is a 5160 high carbon steel, supposed to be made of spring steel. I looked up in the description. It's supposed to be a truck spring. So let's see if... Can't really tell here. I'll do another video outside when it's time to do some cuts to see how springy it is. That'll be coming up soon, the cut videos. Like I said, a 5160 carbon steel. You know, I don't think you can really get much better than that. It's supposed to be tempered and quenched correctly. I'd have to go back into the details again to really see exactly the specs on how they did that for this particular blade. But I'm very impressed with it so far. Anyhow, the only other thing I could say is that you know, it's a very nice piece. It's not too heavy. I really like how it feels in the hands. I think it's going to give a really good cut. As far as thrusting is concerned, I'm not too sure. That's a pretty thick. It definitely tapers down, but it's pretty thick in the spine. So I think this is going to be a good cleaver. As far as the edge is concerned, I must say I'm pretty impressed. Just how they were able to really get the grind done. A lot of these cheaper model blades, less expensive I should say, will normally come almost parallel and then just triangle to a point, and that's your edge. which is really, just not going to be the greatest when it comes to cutting. Um, so I'm actually very impressed at what you get for the money on this one. So looking forward to doing some cuts. Let me know what you think of it, comparison to the cold steel. There's a few other inexpensive messers on the market that I wanted to look into. The two-handed cold steel messer for one. Also, Honshu Shinwa have a nice two-handed cold steel Grosse messer that looks very promising. There's also one made by Condor. If you guys get a chance, check those out. I don't possess any of those. I went with this one, just due to the weight alone. Most of the two-handed messers I'm finding, unfortunately, are coming in around 4 pounds, which I think is just a bit much. They seem like they're very effective for cutting. So, I can't really say I don't have them, but I found this one and it met a lot of the qualifications I like. Plus, it's one of the few that I found that only come in, right around the 3 pound mark. As far as cutting it, as far as the blade, we'll see how it compares to the cold steel. The cold steel messer cut like a dream. I did some cut tests. Go ahead and check that video out. And the only other thing is the other models I've seen that are two-handed all come in at 30 inches. This one is only 29, but we get what they're going for. Anyhow, let's get out there and do some cuts. Thank you for joining us.